one day, I won't name the product, but Sam bought one of our competitors' products and it was sitting at the warehouse. And I said, man, is that one of those plunges? He said, yeah. And he says, you wouldn't believe how much it costs. And he told me the number. And I said, really? And he said, yeah. I was like, wow, we should do something about that.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Hustle Up podcast. My name is Clint.
I'm Jonathan.
And today we have the pleasure of sitting down with Sam Maxwell and Kyle Ponton. Known Kyle for a long time, met him through book club. This is a community leader, engager, serious entrepreneur, business acumen's on 100. Sam, I don't know you too well yet, but I'm looking forward to getting into it. Here you're the e-life or e-learning guru and also e-commerce expert. So I see the Coldlife on the shirt there. You guys have started a new business, Cold Plunge World. What's going on?
Yeah, you know it, dude. Take it away, Sam.
Yeah, so about 7 months ago, Kyle and also our other partner, Alex, came to the agreement that we wanted to start a cold plunge company. We've all done it ourselves, and obviously with what I do, I follow trends online. But personally, one of my main goals in this e-com space has been to find a product that I not only believe in, but I also have a passion for. I've always just sold things that were hot on the market, from acrylic glass song plaques to photo booths to custom name necklaces and other things that I never cared about. And we all kind of came to an agreement after doing it together that we wanted to go full force on this cold plunge company. And over the last 6-7 months, we have designed our own product that we're about to bring to market, hopefully within the next 30 days. And we're going all in. We've literally dropped everything else that we had going on to literally pursue this new brand. And we're extremely excited. I think we're going to crush it.
I'm excited for y'all. I was enjoying a good conversation with Kyle, catching up, got excited about it. So we gotta highlight this on the podcast. So for anybody listening, this should be timing. We'll release this as you guys launch and go to market with the product. That'll be sometime, hopefully in May.
Sometime in May, 100%.
Let's go.
Kyle, let's hear some background from you.
Yeah, so I've known Clint for a long time. I've known you as well, Hessing, for a while, through Define, through book club, through all those different groups. And I've always been in business for myself. I've always been an entrepreneur since pretty much 18, 19 years old. I'm 28 now. So I've been going on, 9-10 years.
Decade in the game.
Of having to fight for myself. And it's been a really interesting journey. How I got connected to Sam was a really kind of an odd connection. My brother-in-law is a personal injury attorney here in the Metro Atlanta area. He had a client, which was our other partner, Alex Hardy. And he was like, hey, you guys should really connect. Like, Alex is a sharp guy. And we ended up kind of connecting. And at the time, him and Sam were doing different e-com Amazon stores, things of that nature, arbitrage, drop shipping, and stuff like that. And so we had partnered up and done some business with them. And even that business wasn't the most successful business, but what really cool about it was I got to know Alex and Sam really well. And for me, as y'all probably already know, but for me, I take relationships and who you are as a person and character and those kinds of things way more, on a higher standard than, what your business background is. And so, I just wanted to do something with them. I was like, you guys are sharp. You guys are hustlers. Let's find a project to work on. And this was over probably a year and a half, 2-year period. And then one day, I won't name the product, but Sam bought one of our competitors' products and it was sitting at the warehouse. And I said, man, is that one of those plunges? He said, yeah. And he says, you wouldn't believe how much it costs. And he told me the number. And I said, really? And he said, yeah. I was like, wow, we should do something about that.
Dude, how much did it cost?
It was about $1,300, and it's a piece of crap. No offense to him.
Yeah.
And Kyle actually took it to his wedding, and they did a plunge at his wedding.
Yeah.
And we literally just started once a week, mostly him, honestly. He stayed on top of me because I actually, as of yesterday, just exited my photo booth business.
Nice.
And I was going through all of my businesses, honestly, kind of hit the fan at the same time. I was going through a lot over the last 6 months, and Kyle, weekly, each week he started contacting me more about it. And he was like, dude, we really got to look into possibly creating our own product and actually pursuing this.
Yeah.
And then after about 2 months, I'd say, of going back and forth, him coming to our warehouse, talking for a few hours, getting on the whiteboard, just drawing up some mock-ups of like where our minds were. And then I went to his office at the Avalon, and we met for about, I'd say, a total of like 10 to 12 hours over a span of like 1 to 2 months. And we all collectively sat down and we were like, let's do this. And we've just been nonstop.
So you've been in the numbers game and you've been in econ for how long?
About 5 years, I'd say.
Okay.
What was your, oh, good.
Well, I'm assuming this is what we've heard from other guests is you're going to find a product that sells. It's mostly going to be about the money. Can you make a margin? Can you drop ship it? Do you want to manufacture it yourself? But you're looking for those high ticket hot items, right?
Yeah, and so you highlighted high ticket. I like just started selling high ticket products.
Okay.
And about 2 years ago.
So maybe not even high ticket. You're just looking for items that are going to
just
sell.
what's hot on the market. But the problem is, what I've experienced over the last 5 years is every year I've done more revenue than the year before.
Yeah.
But obviously, to generate a lot of revenue, what people don't talk about is you spend a lot of money on marketing costs.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've spent millions of dollars on Facebook ads alone. And
Racking up those Amex points.
oh yeah, love Amex. But, you know, over the years, I discovered I was like, damn, I'm selling a product for $35. And after cost per acquisition, occasional refunds, other types of miscellaneous expenses, I'm netting 8%, 10%. And then when the trend dies, it dies hard, and you got to close shop and restart.
Hope you don't have a bunch of
So
products
it's a lot of,
sitting around.
as we all know, being an entrepreneur, ups and downs.
For sure.
Where my parents always say, Sam's always in a great mood like 2 quarters out of the year. 1 quarter out of the year, he's stressing, doesn't know what the heck's going on. And then the other quarter, he's working on a new project.
Tell your parents to talk to my parents.
Were you doing Shopify drop shipping, or were you doing like the Walmart, Amazon drop shipping
So
FBA?
I started with Shopify, and that's what I've done most of the last 5 years. While we were doing business with Kyle, when we started, we also dabbled into Walmart and Amazon,
Sure.
which is a sensitive subject. The truth is, it just hit the fan, policies changed, and you can't do it anymore.
Yeah, I know pretty much that's
been
applicable
through it.
to everyone who's
through
in that
it.
space. Yeah.
And thankfully, we closed about 20 clients compared to, I know, a lot of other people in the space. They had hundreds of clients.
For
and
sure.
we tried to stay transparent with the risks. And, you know, when we identified things were kind of hitting the fan, we lowered the entry fee and kept being more transparent on the risks. But also the fees on Amazon were like outrageous. Like we do 100,000 in revenue and make 7%.
Right.
You know, it was rough. But long story short, while I was mostly selling on Shopify and still am, when I started selling these photo booths, my average order value was about $4,800. And I took that business with my partner from 0 to $1 million in revenue in under 100 days. Our margins were like 25+%. And that opened up my eyes to, we were selling a lot fewer units, dealing with a lot fewer customers to make the same, if not more money. So on top of that, though, that customer like audience for that product was brutal.
Right.
Very, very hard to deal with, wanting stuff for free. But it also showed me that over 50% of our orders were financed. So if you have a financing option for a high ticket product, and you know the approach with this photo booth was people would finance it and rent it out to make money off of it. So a lot of our ads were focused on, you could buy this $5,000 photo booth for as little as $200 a month, rent it out for $100 an hour,
Right.
plus, you know, blah, 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 blah. So going through that, I learned
Real quick, Clint, I think you had one at your wedding. The same ones he
the
was
spinning
selling.
360.
spinning one, the 360s, yeah.
I mean, they're still big, but you know, that was I always say, like, I'm a college dropout. Like every single product I've sold, every brand I've started has all been a priceless education, no matter how much money I made or lost, because that was my school. So long story short, going through the last 5 years, I identified that after the last brand, I want to stay in the high ticket space. It's a lot bigger of a, you know, fish to fry, but I think long term, it's a lot better in my opinion as like a business model for e-commerce. And that's when we met all together to go over the cold plunge, I was like, I literally just went through the last 2 years selling a high ticket product. I got a really good understanding of how to do this now after going through what I just experienced.
That's awesome. So it sounds like there was like a character piece that brought y'all together, really, like, and that means a lot. But what's the tactical dichotomy of y'all's relationship?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you when I met Sam and Alex, again, I look for the character, the foundation. Those things matter more to me than most. It was a big plus that Sam had a lot of this experience, spending millions of dollars that you really can't get through school or education. You
Definitely
just
not.
do it. And that kind of marketing education costs a lot of money.
By the way, we tried to do what he's talking about and failed miserably.
yeah, it's
So-
really hard.
It's not just super easy, yeah.
really
Yeah, it's
hard.
not for the faint of
Sam
You
heart.
might as well be speaking Mandarin at this point.
Yeah.
You've been over in China a good bit,
Yeah,
right?
seriously, man. Seriously.
Yeah.
And Sam's very talented in that. And again, like he's gone through it for the past 5 years in that world. So he's got a good education on that. For me, I came in with really zero e-com experience. I was not an e-com guy. Still to this day, don't really brand myself or label myself as an e-com guy. I've got a lot more traditional corporate experience, as you guys know. I started in staffing for our first business. I then moved and transitioned into more, healthcare sales. We were selling products and PPE when that was a high craze. And then I was selling a healthcare service to doctors and primary care offices and things like that. And so for me, I had a more just strategy, overarching, trying to achieve a larger goal in business background.
Some logistics and distribution too.
Yeah, and a really good ops mind.
When you say a larger goal, and by the way, close a little closer. I want to make sure everyone can hear what you're saying.
Appreciate
When you say a larger goal, what does that mean? Like, draw that out.
Yeah. We had I'll tell you in a short story. The other night, we got together, the three of us, me, Sam, and Alex, and we sat down, and part of starting this company was, hey, let's not just start the company. Let's figure out what we're really doing here. Let's not just, start an ice plunge company or a cold plunge company just to beat another guy out there. Why are we really doing this? What's the ultimate vision here? What's the bigger thing? And I think for me, as any entrepreneur, it's tough to create in the very beginning a large vision. Like, we're going to be the best cold plunge on the planet. And not that that's a bad vision, but it's tough to really actually get connected to that, and then also get people excited about that, where they're going to wake up every single day, or they're going to get really kind of connected to a bigger.
Because it's more of a you thing than like a purpose driven vision.
Correct. And that's why we sat down and I said, hey, look, I think for this company, there is something really big here. I mean, the market, without getting into the details, because I know we only have a short time here, but the market for this business,
we have plenty of time.
Yeah, let's run
Just
it.
run it up.
The market for this is absolutely nuts, and I can explain further on that. But like the numbers are massive that it's.
I mean,
going
between
on right
cold
now,
plunges and
plunging.
pickleball, that's my freaking
Yeah.
Instagram feed.
There you go, dude. There you go. I mean, cold plunges are hot right now.
Yeah.
Like, they're really hot. You'd be surprised. I was wildly shocked to hear the actual revenue numbers that some of these companies were doing based on just kind of their social appearances, what you see, that kind of thing. And again, I didn't have an ecom background, so I didn't necessarily know if I'm seeing a product everywhere, like, oh, I figured they're doing a couple $1 million or whatever.
I showed Kyle some like the softwares that I use to like track people, and I think he's probably still on those softwares like every day.
Every day we're tracking it.
But
it's
Wow.
it's nuts. Like we literally have been tracking this niche for like 6+ months every day, and it's blown our minds.
and it's big.
That's
It's
crazy.
big. So that was exciting for us, is that like when we sat down and said this, it's like, all right, number one, none of us want to do something small. Period. We're not swinging for base hits. If we were swinging for base hits, I think we'd be doing something different, because like at the end of the day, like this is a semi-riskier space. Like, if you go talk to business people across the world, there's thousands of different businesses you can go start tomorrow that are like pretty dang sure that if you execute and do a good job, you can do really well. Clint is a great example of that. Like freaking just paying, door knocking, doing the pavement, and just building an awesome roofing company. Like, is a great example of when you're a good operator and executor, you can win big in anything.
Super low barriers to entry, problems to solve, but nothing that's billionaire problems.
Whereas what y'all's doing is more
exactly.
like supplements. You have to convince people that they need it.
Yeah, we're going into a whole new market space, which like we believe in it, but at the end of the day, just objectively speaking, like this is a riskier thing, right? And we go, again, you look at traditional businesses, it's like, oh, you got this, you got roofing, you got sales, you got this, like you got these lanes that are very established, and you just need an operator and executor to come in and do that lane. Versus with us,
It's new territory.
It's a new territory. And that was one of the big things that we had talked about, and that I really wanted to think about for this company as a longer vision, was that like right now, if you guys are seeing all these different cold plunge companies, and nothing against them because they're doing a great job, but they would have been Sam 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. finding a product on Alibaba, slapping a logo on it, making an order, and then they spend 99% of their time just running ads, and that's it. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's a semi-short life cycle because you have nothing that is unique to what you're doing. Your next competitor, you've got 20 of them. You don't own anything. There's no IP. There's no patents. There's no nothing. And so we were like, hey, we don't want to be, exposed in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months if potentially maybe cold plunging does die down a little bit. Because it could, but just because cold plunge dies down a little bit doesn't mean that our company is going to suffer significantly. Yeah. We want to capture on the trend. Yeah, we want to be here, but we don't want to just catch a trend for 12 months and run away. We want to catch a trend for 12 months and then build an actual established company in the wellness space. We can continue to bring out more stuff, more products, more brands, etc. And to do that, I think you have to have uniqueness. You have to own something. You've got to have the IP. And so we went out there when we started this and we said, hey, we've got to come up with something that's better. And we spent, that was the first 2-3 months, was just sitting down being like, well, what's good about this product? What do we like about it? What's bad about it? What can make it better? What's cooler? What could we offer that is not on the market right now? And through all of that, that's where we came to our actual final product that we have now. And then it went on a hunt to actually build this thing and find, engineers to help us put together the actual, mechanical engineering and the design and those kinds of things. And then find a manufacturer that's actually going to take on a project from people that maybe there wasn't a relationship there. So calling on different people. And we probably cold called 200 plus, steel manufacturers.
And real quick, to give you credit, he called all 200 plus. Like that's like
Kyle's a dog.
One of the 10 characteristics that Kyle brings to the table is everything he's right now articulating is literally like what he has fulfilled and brought into the table. Like not only the energy every single day, like I complimented him 3 days ago when we had our like kind of partner like values like night like dinner. But I'm saying like he literally digged and never stopped. And like I've never had to really reach out to manufacturers. I've never designed my own product. I've literally taken a product already on the market, like he explained, and white labeled it, found someone already making it. This is complete opposite. This is something I've always wanted to do. Like he just articulated, we didn't want to just be in the space for 12 months and then get out. That's what I've always done because once the trend died down, I sell every one of my online businesses. So shouting you out, Kyle, I'm saying like he literally being a dog, like he's the reason why truthfully, like, we're all to take credit for where we are today, but I'm saying it revolves to creating the product, finding the manufacturer. Just everything from A to Z. That's, the skills he brought with his last background is what made this happen, truly.
Love that. And real quick, because that's awesome. And I know that about you. Clint knows that about you. And I know that about you too. So I see how the relationship comes together, right? You have the tactical e-com experience and you've got the vision of an experienced entrepreneur who's not on the e-com side, right? And what I'm hearing you say, which is interesting, is you guys' value proposition, your differentiator is that you're building, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm making that Coldlife is a lifestyle brand more than it is a cold plunge company.
That's the longer vision for us. And that's why we named it Coldlife, because Coldlife isn't a product name per se, right? It's not necessarily the most distinguishable thing when it comes to finding something off of the shelf, Coldlife. You think of that more as something as a movement, something as a community, et cetera. And that's what we saw as something that, because these products, especially in the high ticket space, are a little bit, they're high ticket, they're expensive. I was looking at cold plunges. I didn't want to buy one for 8, 9, 10, some of $15,000. And, we wanted to get people who were taking cold showers, people who were doing lakes, people who were doing all of our community cold plunge events that you guys know we were doing all throughout the winter, where we would have hundreds of people come to a local area in a pool. We wanted to include
50 degrees, 40 degrees,
30 degrees,
ice off the pool,
breaking
to
ice.
hop into cold water. That's insane.
Let's go. Yeah. We wanted to figure out a way where those people felt included into the community, and maybe one day, if they wanted to, they could invest into one of our products as a permanent part of their lifestyle. But we didn't want to exclude them from the community because it's a big part of what we do. It's how I got started. It was cold showers, and then I got really excited about the community aspect. So that was
that's something we take pride in with this product is that we actually do a cold plunge every single day for the most part, the best we can. And at least speaking for myself, like I see the benefits, and that's what kind of fueled me to be like, I really am about this because it seems psycho, it seems crazy, it seems like you're kind of like a David Goggins wannabe, but truthfully, we see the benefits.
I
Like,
think everybody wants to be like David Goggins.
I mean,
I think most people are unwilling to put that level of discipline in, and that's
It's
even
hard.
true for very disciplined people. Aren't going to go run for 14 hours straight,
For sure.
7 days a week, right?
No.
But this is a way that you can engage in activities like he does to promote mental wellness, physical wellness. I heard a stat, and I want to hear some from you guys because I know you probably have a list. But cold shower, cold plunge in the morning for 2 minutes or more can increase dopamine in the brain for up to 10 times longer
Yeah.
than snorting a line of cocaine would
Yep.
without the crash.
Yep.
That's wild to me.
And
It
I'll
is a
tell-
natural drug that you can get first thing in the morning.
And I'll tell you what, I'll respond with, yes, that's true. But more importantly, what's true, what I have found the most, like, I didn't believe it for the longest time. I was always expecting like a taper off.
Right.
Like just with everything else, with alcohol, with drugs, with energy drinks, with all that stuff.
You build
like,
immunity.
You build immunity. You
Yeah.
build tolerance. And
Right.
eventually you just need more. You need more. You need more. A cold plunge is without fail every single time. Number one, it sucks every time.
Yeah.
Never
You
gets easier.
never want to do it,
Yeah.
right? You get into it and you're just like, God damn, it's cold today. Like you're just not feeling it, and you got to do it. And there's a mental aspect to that you really, it's tough to find that elsewhere in
Right.
the morning, right? I mean, you just got to do what you got to do. That's number one. And then number two is that post plunge feeling. That's what we always refer to it
It's
as, like that
insane.
post plunge. Like it's a high. Number one, the high lasts for a solid 3 to 4 hours. Like
Yeah.
it's not just 10 minutes. It is a long time. And number two, it is consistent.
Yeah.
Every single time you take that cold plunge, without fail, it's the same feeling you get from the first time you took it, which to me, I think is, I've never found anything like that. Even with saunas, even with working out, even with a lot of different things, like there's typically some level of taper off that you get. And with cold plunging, I mean, shoot, I've been doing cold showers for a few years. Cold plunging, I really took seriously the past like year. So maybe,
And there is a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is a big
What is
difference.
what's the difference?
Well, cold shower, I always, explain it as, and Sam, you can give your answer on this, but cold showers are like, they're great. And I would encourage everybody who doesn't have a cold plunge, start with a cold shower. Cold
Right.
showers are rippingly awesome. I mean, they're
Right.
amazing. The challenge with cold showers is really finding access to truly cold water. Most, it obviously depends on the climate you're in. Down here in Georgia, spring, summertime, pipes get hotter. Like you're not really going to find that much when it comes to spring and summertime. It's going to come out of the tap at 62, 65. It ain't going to do much, but it's a good start. However, in the fall and winter time, I mean, those come out of the pipe at 45, 48 degrees. Like it's rippingly cold. So like you do a cold shower in the fall and winter time, it is amazing. I would say the key difference though is that when you're in a cold shower, it's almost like you have to continuously re-engage into it. So it's like hitting different parts of your body. And so you're completely kind of re-engaging, and you can never fully just kind of submit to the experience. When you do a cold plunge, it's just like you're in, and you like you do it at once, and then you're done. And like you kind of ride. I figure depending how cold it is, I try to get to cruise control mode. We're on cruise control. You're chilling. You're waiting for your 3 to 5 minutes is up, and then you get out and you're fired. Versus a cold shower, it's like you just never quite feel like.
Yeah, I
you're
gotta get my
sitting.
It's a little
shoulder,
less
then I
of a
gotta get my
commitment.
hip. Yeah.
Well, little less commitment time-wise, physically. So there's he said submit to the experience, right? When you've got the cold plunge, you have to take the time and effort to prepare for that.
Yeah.
Whether you have a plunging,
Totally.
what do we call it? A plunge device? What?
Cold plunge.
A plunge. Yep. If you've got a plunge maybe in your basement, you have to go down there in your, whatever you're going to wear
Right.
and hit that time limit. With the shower, it's just a little less commitment.
It is.
I can still get a good feeling off of it.
For sure. Yeah.
But my input is anyone listening to this that takes a cold shower, I think this is pretty spot on because I was a victim of this. You have the convenience of just turning it right back on
Right.
hot. So, I do a cold shower every day. I hear people
Right.
say that to me all the time now that they know what I'm doing. They're like, oh, I already do a cold shower every day. And I'm like, yeah, well, not to be creepy,
Yeah, that's
but
a good
if we had
start.
a camera
Yeah.
recording you doing your cold showers, I guarantee you after 30 to 60 seconds of you standing there,
Yeah.
you're turning that thing back up. And that's what I used to do.
Or starting warm and then
Exactly.
gradually
But
working
compared
down.
to you're getting in an actual, cold plunge, you're in there. The temperature is what it is, and you're committed. You got to be in there for the 2, 3, 4 minutes.
Right.
And the main difference that I've noticed too is getting in the cold plunge is, in my opinion, like easier than a cold shower because it's going on your head and it's going on your shoulders, and it's just like, I don't know. In my opinion, like the cold plunge is just better overall, but I think the cold showers is just too convenient to not be disciplined enough to actually just, and you're standing there, you're standing in the shower, not, doing anything for 3 minutes out on cold. Like no one really does that. When we're in the cold plunge, we're listening to music in the warehouse or wherever we're doing it. We're talking to other people. Like when you're doing the cold plunge compared to the shower, it's also like, it's easier when you're doing it with other people, in my opinion.
Yeah. Do we have any data on diminishing returns? So I know part of the cold plunge is the mental aspect, doing something difficult. Mm-hmm. There's also a lot of physical benefits, but at what point are you going to get, I don't like to say this the worst way, but the warmest you can have a cold plunge to get the most physical? Where's that Pareto principle there?
I'll say this. I think everyone's a little bit different, right? I mean, sometimes, and people have all kinds of health conditions too, like, so you got to be, aware of what your body is and that sort of thing. But I would say generally speaking, everyone kind of finds their happy temp. So our cold plunge rips down to 37 degrees, which is disgustingly cold.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
It's just not fun.
Do you guys have like a leaderboard? Because I've seen people coming into your offices and
we don't want to get too.
I guess that's not really what it's about. Though.
Yeah, and then somebody dies and then
exactly. And I'll tell you what too, you can go, your body gets pretty numb pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So like after a couple of minutes, like you numb up and, not like your whole body, but like in terms of that outside really feeling you numb up. And so like you can stick in there for 10, 15, if you really put your mind to it. Like it's not that hard to study, and it's really about what that's doing to you. And there is a significant fall off of benefits like past 5 minutes. Now that can depend on the degree. So if you're taking like a warmer one, maybe 6 or 7, but like traditionally speaking, it's a pretty good consensus. So like after 5 minutes, like you're in there. Like you're not really getting much more than what you would have gotten initially.
Yeah, like a lot of studies say like it's best to do cold plunges for about 11 to 13 minutes a week as well. So like when I first started, I was doing them for, a minute and 2 minutes. And then when I was getting, the big ego of like, oh, I got this, I was doing it for like up to like 8 to 10 minutes sometimes.
A day, like a sitting?
Like at one sitting.
Session,
wow.
Yeah, but that's the thing is after 3 to 4 minutes, your body's so numb that like you're chilling. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot. The first few minutes is the hardest. But I mean, I don't know about the specifics on the temperature. I think you're kind of right, and revolves around people's health and just preference and et cetera. But I mean, if it's anything warmer than 60 degrees, I don't think that really counts.
Right.
No, I think maybe even 55. One other thing too is the, with cold plunging becoming so much more popular now. Like, I mean, shoot, dude, 2 years ago, we didn't have the studies we have today. Like, people are putting in some real significant investment into resources and studies trying to figure out what this is doing and why everyone's doing this thing. Because, like, we have a good friend, Gabe, who I know you guys know closely and hopefully will be in Hustle Up soon. His big, kind of comment on life, and he always communicates that science always follows, like, intuition. And it's like, well, cold plunging is huge right now. And like, yeah, there's some people who are like, oh, the cold plunge this, or maybe there's some doubters or haters that where's the science to back it up? And truthfully, there is a lot of really good data coming out about it, but it's like, you can't tell me that you can get, bar any, major health issues, just throwing it out there. If you got some crazy heart issue, like go consult your doctor. Don't, jump into the cold plunge without doing that. But if you're a regular healthy person, like, and you get in the cold plunge, like the benefits are clear. You feel them immediately. Like you feel them intensely and you feel them immediately. And it's like, you can't quite put that into, it's tougher to put that into numbers and data, but now that it's getting so popular, the data's coming. There's so much more studies being done now. So over the next even few years, we'll see what that looks like.
What are the top 3 stats you guys could think of if we could just like, whatever you're about to say, clip it and run it on social, like the 3 main reasons why someone should cold plunge?
I mean, for me, I'll say at least for like my lifestyle and like experience, I was on Adderall like my whole life. I'm proudly off of it, like a year plus. I struggle in the mornings to like get locked in, having brain fog, and et cetera. For me, it's like he talked about, like, it's like a high when you get out of it. But not only that, like the following 3 to 4 hours after you get out, like you're on one. Like we were just remodeling our warehouse for our content studio and et cetera for our launch. And it was kind of like a joke. Like Alex, our partner, like recently I could quote him, like he got out of a cold plunge and he was just like, sprinting across the warehouse. He's like, dude,
it does more for me than coffee.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah. And that's the thing. I'm trying to get off caffeine as well. Like I drink a lot of caffeine. And like the thing with me is like, it gets you woke. Like I'm talking, you are on one. And for me, like doing it in the morning, like before like my first 9 a.m. call or whatever, like I'm locked in and focused. But on top of that, we've been trying to hit the gym a lot lately. In my opinion, I don't want to sell a health and wellness product and have a dad bod. So I'm down like 10 plus pounds right now.
Let's
We're
go.
going to the gym every day. Me and him are kind of doing like an accountability, like Stairmaster, like
Seen
challenge.
that on Instagram.
And we're crushing it. We just
Yeah.
did 60 minutes. Both of us did for
On
the
the
first time on
Stairmaster?
Stairmaster at 8
Let's go.
speed.
That's legit.
It was hard, but
Whoa.
we're pushing ourselves, more than the last 6 months prior going to the gym because, we're trying to, elevate all aspects of our life and health. And that's what I also like about this product and brand is it's not just a matter of our goals with the revenue. It's also the lifestyle of it's a positive influence on our lifestyle and own goals to also motivate and influence other people. But my main thing is the reducing inflammation and soreness and stuff like that because I got bird legs. Like I don't like hitting leg days. I never like to do cardio. I'm doing the Stairmaster every day. I'm extremely sore when I get off that thing. I do a cold plunge the next morning or the night of. I barely feel sore and I'm still going at it. And on top of that, the brown fat cells that it burns. I didn't know this, but a lot of my friends that live out in California, they're like a lot of models and like influencers are really starting to do this because it's really helping them maintain like their toneness. And on top of that, burn brown fat cells. So for me, I've even seen the difference as well when I'm in there. I like joke about it and I'm like struggling. I'm like, I can feel the brown fat cells burning right now. But legitimately, those are my top 3 things is not even a statistic, but the brain fog and like just the boost it gives you and then reducing the inflammation and then burning the brown fat cells.
Energy, clarity, inflammation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I like that because, and I would love to do cold plunges, cold showers habitually. I'm not there. I'm not going to pretend to be there, but I do them 100% of the time medicinally. And what I mean by that is, and I've shared this on the podcast a few times. I have Crohn's disease, which I got diagnosed with in high school. And it's inflammation of the intestines.
Almost killed you.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'd have 10 inches of my intestines cut out at one point in my life.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'll show you the scar later. But for a long time, they didn't know what I had. And one of the things they thought I had was pancreatic cancer. And so whenever I have a flare up, and I took myself off medicine 6 years ago. Like I take allergy medicine because I hate dealing with the pollen.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I don't take medicine for anything else. And when I have a flare up, like my first thought is like, oh my God, like it's pancreatic cancer. Like this is it. And the first thing I always do is hop into a cold shower. If I had a cold plunge, I would definitely do that. And the reason, one, not just it helps, I feel, beat the inflammation, which is good to hear you because I thought that, but it also puts me in a mindset of being proactive instead of reactive. So instead of being reacting to, oh shit, this is the end, this is the serious one that's gonna get me, I'm like, this ain't shit about shit. Like I got this.
Let's go.
And and the coldness, like it shocks your like mind, body, and soul. And I think it's like just from the medicinal element of it alone, like the burning of the fat, the mental acuity, like all that stuff, like it's crazy. I think you guys like are getting into a really good business
I agree with that.
with a great purpose.
I agree with that. And I think too, like for me, my simple answer is like when I'm all about the mental aspect of the cold plunge. I know there's an incredible amount of physical benefits that it can provide. Inflammation being really kind of the key, most obvious one that's actually had a lot of studies on, especially combined with sauna. I think that's the most clear and obvious one. But in addition to that, I would say like it's hard to do every single time. And I love doing hard things because if I do one hard thing and I start with a hard thing, it makes the next hard thing a lot less hard. And that is like, I think something that's wildly underrated in the cold plunge space because it's just more like people hone in on those health benefits, which are great. But it's like, man, doing something hard to start your day is just a great way to do it. And I think that's what it does for me. And then post that would be like mental clarity and mental, focus. Like, I mean, I feel literally locked in for a solid 3 to 4 hours, like locked in. Like I feel very, very clear, ready to go attack the day.
So inflammation reduction, doing something hard, and focus.
Clarity. Yep.
Yeah, I like the one about doing something hard. I think maybe you said it or Michael Chiara said it, one of y'all, or maybe one of y'all. But there was like a meme, and it said the best way to have an easy life is to do the hard things.
Right.
It's such a fact.
And when you can wake up and do a fucking cold shower or a cold plunge every morning, and that'll probably most likely be the hardest thing you have to do that day.
We can
Pretty
rephrase it too. How many people listening or in this room will struggle not in the afternoons or not at lunch, but in the morning, getting going, getting revved up, I drink coffee, unashamed. I drink a lot of caffeine.
Yep.
And some days it's just not enough. So if you're struggling in the morning, you're looking for a way to shake up routine. Yeah, you could go out and go for a run, and that probably is going to be healthy. Like, it's not going to hurt you.
Yep.
But if you don't have time for that, 4 minutes in a cold shower, I don't know if it's adrenaline spiking or the fear of doing, like, that apprehension before you hop in. Cold shower, cold plunge, it gets the engine revved up.
It does.
And it does bring things into focus. It's not just like I have more energy because I'm not geeked afterward.
Yeah.
I'm awake and alert.
Yep.
I think that's been a life hack for me, especially over the last 6 months.
Yeah.
If I don't have the energy, you can freeze it out real quick.
Dude, absolutely.
And being entrepreneurs like we all are, in my opinion, it's all about consistency, and I love a routine. I'm so organized and like beat myself up when I don't follow my routine. And adding this to our routine has also been a great like team building like addition where, you know, we might not all be feeling it one day, but Kyle might walk in electric per usual every morning, fired up, no matter how awake I am. And he's like, all right, guys, we doing cold plunge today? And we're like, and he's like, nope, let's get in. And then as soon as one person gets in, it's like, well, shit.
I ain't gonna be the one who doesn't.
We got to get in. You know what I mean? But like the thing is, like, truthfully, it is the mindset thing that I definitely want to highlight. You know what I mean? Like feeling like a dog when you get in that thing and you're like, I don't want to do this shit, but I know it's good for me. And dude, it's 3 to 4 minutes. Like 3 to 4 minutes. Like if I can't suck it up for something for 3 to 4 minutes, like I'm not who I think I am.
Wait till life throws you a curveball.
Yeah, and I mean, I was going through, like I said, like, and I'm open about it. I'm all about being transparent, and like, I'm not a perfect person, but I've truthfully believed, like, as I've grown as an entrepreneur and a networker and a business guy, like, I love to be authentic and transparent. And the last 8 to 12 months of business personally was like the hardest, like, last 8 to 12 months I've ever been through. And that was like the ultimate test. Like, A, are you about this? And second off, like, what are you going to do to not go through this again? And me doing a cold plunge where literally every day I was struggling, like, to focus and like just get through. And like, when I would go through the cold plunge, I literally would forget about all my stress for like 3 to 4 hours. And I'd be like, all right, we're getting back to it. So like, in my opinion, like the cold plunge has even helped me personally get through the last 6 to 8 months of the hard stuff I was going through.
From a mental health
From
aspect.
a mental health aspect, like truthfully.
Yeah. What do you guys think when you're in there, right? Like there's some people like Wim Hof, right, who I think they don't think about anything and they could just meditate. And then there's some people, you know, Clint told me about this, and every time I'm in the gym, it's the they don't know me, son. Like just in that bitch, like they don't know me, son. Like in your head over and over again. Like that's the route I typically will go. What do you guys, like what's going through your head when you're sitting in a 30, what's the coldest, 35?
It goes down to
37.
37, yeah. And
37 degree cold plunge.
I mean, truthfully, I'm either not thinking about anything but the moment of just trying to focus on breathing and just getting through, or the other half, I'm usually like feeling good about myself, like I'm a dog, like you know, like I'm a fucking animal. You know what I mean? Like, and I like that feeling.
Gets you in your bag,
I mean, and when I get out, I mean, it's like a joke, but every time anyone gets out of that thing, even first people that come by to do it for their first time, we're like, how you feel? And they're like, I feel freaking amazing. And like, that's like, I literally go through it because I'm like, I know when I get out of this, I'm going to feel like $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, facts.
That is fun to look forward to. In the spirit of transparency and vulnerability, what do you guys think about the statement, if you didn't piss yourself afterward, it wasn't cold enough? Have y'all ever lost bladder function?
No, but I have wanted to pee very badly while I'm in there.
Yeah, he's made a few jokes.
But I have to be respectful to the fact that there are other people getting in that plunge.
Yeah.
We do have some.
You're so shrunk.
gonna have
You're
a
so
personal
shrunk when you're
plunge?
in there. Like, like even if I had to go, like I'm not even thinking about it.
Yeah, facts. So.
Where did it go?
Literally,
It was just here.
That's hilarious.
literally.
That's crazy. No, that's awesome. So let's pivot a little bit. Let's talk about the business model, right?
Let's do it.
So tell me about it.
Yeah. So I'll start, and you can kind of piggyback, Sam. I think the big thing for us is I would say to start with is the fact that we are unique. So there are, you know, maybe we're in a little bit of a echo chamber because we're in space, and so we see other companies and that sort of thing. But there are a handful of cold plunge companies out there right now that are starting and quite frankly are all selling the same thing. They all look the same. They all have the same products. They're all buying it from the same, supplier in
All off
Asia.
Alibaba.
All off Alibaba. And again, I'm not hating on that business
Sure.
model. It can work, and people have built, massive companies doing that. So there's nothing wrong with that per se. We just wanted to take a different approach. We wanted to have something that was, number one, made in America, at least the actual physical plunge
Not
itself.
just assembled in America,
Yeah.
but made in
Like
America.
we're creating jobs, people in America. We are partnering with people in America. The people who are building this with us are, it's been something more special than just a drop shipping, throwing a logo on a product thing. It's been, hey, let's actually build a brand. Let's build a company here. And so for us, we don't want to just necessarily spend a bunch of money on ads, run it up, try and do some revenue, and then get out of this thing. We want to actually build a brand. And so to build a brand and to have sales is two very different things. And building a brand is much, much more difficult. It takes much longer time, and there's a much more strategic and intentional approach that has to be taken when you're building a brand. So for us, when it comes to the business side, we've all got wild, crazy ideas on what this brand can really be, and what it's going to take to actually push us there. But
Free samples to Rogan, Itzler, and Huberman.
bro, yeah,
That's it, dude.
we're working on it. Trust me.
Itzler, if you're listening.
Yeah, Itzler, Huberman, Rogan,
Atlanta-based
come hit us
company
up.
right here.
Atlanta-based, yeah,
Yeah.
especially Jesse Itzler. But yeah, that's a big proponent for us. And then finding those partners like them, like people that we actually kind of connect with and want to actually be a part of this company. And then, when in terms of go to market, we're doing this on a traditional direct to consumer model. So this is not something we're going to roll out to Dick's Sporting Goods or Ace Hardware or that kind of thing. This is a traditional, you find a brand online, you buy it, you read reviews, and it comes to your door. And so
You don't want in-store distribution at all?
Not in the beginning, not in the early half decade of this. No, I don't think so. It's not out of the question down the road, but as everyone's familiar, when you incorporate a distribution model, you have to increase the price of your product, or else you're not going to be able to make any money. And those distribution companies in the middle have to make money. If you're getting it to Dick's, they got to manage inventory, they got to create their own margin, et cetera. And so for us, just like any other big D2C company, we want to kind of, quote unquote, cut out the middleman. We want to basically be the supplier, the manufacturer, the all-in-one. You're coming to the source to buy our product, which allows us to not mark this up as crazy as it would need to be marked up if we were going to go into a Walmart or a Dick's or something like that. And again, a lifespan of a company, it's not abnormal for us to figure that out in a 5-year or 10-year period. If that ever does come true for us, but it's not the vision today. It doesn't necessarily a big key part of what we're trying to do, because the D2C model works so well. And more importantly, Sam's skill set, which is really going to be the driving force of the marketing machine of this company, is primarily in D2C. He spent, multiple seven figures on how to go market to a customer who wants to spend thousands of dollars on a product. How do you do that? Where does that start? What does that even take shape of? Go ahead.
Question real quick. Is there a B2B model like what you did with your last company where you sell to gyms or you sell to med
Yes.
spas?
Yes.
Or to Cryo-Life.
Because
Yeah, of
you
course.
can't afford, whatever your price point is going to be, you can't afford that, but you're in the Coldlife community.
Correct.
Are there, where can I go to get in the...
But
Yeah.
and one thing to highlight as well that kind of got my personal attention when we were starting to formulate this idea of building this brand was I was a member at a cryotherapy place. I was spending like $170 a month to go get in a chamber for
get cold.
3 minutes. And I would have to drive there, go during hours of operation. I would then have to possibly wait in a line. I had to get undressed, get in like a robe with the mitts on, and et cetera. It's like a 30 to 45 minute detour for me to go do the 3 to 4 minute cryotherapy thing.
Right.
And I discovered I personally didn't like the chamber. I liked the water more. But on top of that, like my last previous experience with my last brand, people were financing my product. So that kind of opened up my eyes as well. Imagine if we could bring a product to market that people could finance for the same amount of money as a cryotherapy membership, where they could actually own the asset, pay it off over time, have it at their own business, gym, house, whatever, and then they could literally pay the same amount of money and do it whenever they want, save time, long-term money, and et cetera.
Facts.
So we literally went out and looked at every product on the market, and then we literally said, what can be better? What do we like about this? What do we like about that? And then obviously came up with our own ideas. Should I give the reference of like an example of how we?
I want to dive in on this a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
You find a $1,300 cold plunge that's a POS. We don't like it.
Sure.
So then you also decide, hey, I want to design a great cold plunge at what price point? Similar, less than, more than?
Yeah. So we'll say this. We started off with, okay, I would say in the cold plunge space, there's tiers, right? So the product that we were even referencing isn't really a cold plunge. It's more of a quote unquote ice bath.
It's a barrel.
So there's no plunge aspect to it. There's no filtration. There's no constant cold. There's no 24/7 cleanliness, etc. So you're having to essentially buy ice every time you want to use your barrel. Nothing wrong with that, but it's a lower tier product in the market, and you're competing with you're trying to convince somebody to go from a horse trough at their local Ace Hardware or a trash can or their bathtub.
You're trying to $1,300 wine cask
to a $1,300 wine cask. There you go. And that's the value prop for them, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's you're solving a different problem. For us, we want to look at the entire market and we say, okay, like I call it the plunger's journey. Like where can we meet every single individual where they're at in their journey? So let's just say someone just starting to take cold showers and they're wanting to get into starting to cold plunge. Well, maybe they're not ready to invest, we won't release our exact end price here, but thousands of dollars into a fully ready to go, 100%, this is what I want to do unit that has a chiller, filtration, it fits, etc. Maybe
like a hot tub for cold water.
Correct. Maybe we're not ready to, that's a big investment, it's kind of scary, it's this, I'm not doing it as much every day. But I do want to do something where I can put ice in it. And my bathtub, it gets, wet or annoying, or it's really small and I can't, by the time I put ice in there, it melts, or I can't really fit in there with the ice. It's not really comfortable. I can't fully submerge, all those things. If we want to meet that person in the buyer's journey and we say, okay, we've built a product for you and our product comes, you don't have to buy our chiller with it. So you can buy just our plunge. It is going to be a little bit more expensive. We don't have a final price point yet. It'll be more expensive than the $13 barrel, but you're getting a much more premium experience. So just to point out a few of the key things. Number one, you're not going to get with the barrel, there's no insulation. So you guys know if you put a cup outside in the middle of the summer, how fast does ice take to melt? 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes. I mean, it's not long, right? So you pretty much get a one-time use out of those types of products. But with ours, we were like, dang, like, how do we solve for that? Like, what could we do better? How could we actually make somebody, give someone more insulation? And so we went after, and I mean, it was a joke. I was sitting at home. Clint, if anybody's listening, just picked up his coffee mug. That's a stainless steel Yeti type
insulated
mug.
Stainless.
Insulated stainless steel mug. I was sitting at home washing our old company cups, Define mugs. And I'm literally sitting there washing it. And I'm like, dang. I'm like, this is insulated. Like, I'm like, whoa, water stays in here cold for a really long time. Like,
even without the lid.
Even without the lid. Yes, you're exactly right. I was like, I wonder how, like, what is the science behind like that? Like, how do you, I was like, is there something in here? Is that whatever? So that's where it started. Then we hired engineers. Then we went down that path and we really found out that it is difficult to do that at a larger scale because without getting technical about it super specifically, like, there's some challenges to vacuum sealing steel. It's not as simple as just throwing a vacuum in there. There's some challenges to it. It's got to be it's pretty technical. However, that's honestly what we spent the past 6-7 months doing. Is that was probably our biggest struggle, was figuring out how to properly not only just make a prototype but produce something at the hundreds on a monthly basis, something like this, and keep that vac seal high, because we didn't want to create a low vac seal where it was just a couple of minutes and then it ended up melting. We wanted to create like something very high. And so that's one of our biggest one of our biggest kind of advantages in the marketplace is that you're not going to get sweat. So anything that's not insulated, you're going to get sweat. So think about a cup sitting on a table. It's constantly sweating. So if you're on a back porch, you're on an inside, you're in your garage, even if you don't splash water, it's going to condensate a lot of water. So you really don't want that going on in any kind of environment where there's going to be people walking around. Ours doesn't do that, which is huge. And then on top of that, it's going to hold that water cold for, a lot longer than our competitors without putting real,
like multiple days, a lot longer.
Multiple days longer, correct.
Nice.
And it's
If
also
you put a lid on it, right?
Yeah, and so we've got a lid that's built with it, and it's UV repellent, it's UV graded, and so it's UV stable, and so that way when it's sitting outdoors, if you guys ever see plastic that sits outdoors, a lot of things turn yellow
yeah.
over time. This is UV stable, so it can withstand the sun. It's actually used a lot in roofing products. Some of the plastic supplier that we got this lid from sells a lot of UV stable to roofer suppliers for like solar and things like that.
Sure.
But anyways, that was, we thought about every kind of nook and cranny along the way of how do we actually meet each and every single buyer where they're at in the journey. And so if we want to capture that quote unquote lower end market or someone just looking to get into the space, let's build something for them. And then let's build it to where they always have the option to upgrade. And so everything is built in and comes in as if you were going to buy our chiller. And so you can always just plug and play down the road, and you say, okay, you know what? I'm kind of tired of buying the ice. I'm doing this every day. Like, the water doesn't necessarily stay clean, because if you just put ice in it, you're going to have to kind of drain the water out, put the ice back in.
If you've ever had to clean a hot tub, same, the bromide and the chlorine.
Yep, yeah, exactly. And it just gets a little, you
don't want any funk.
A little tasking. Yeah, exactly. So if you want something that's constant, 24/7 clean the entire time, then you want to buy our chiller. And our chiller is awesome. Our chiller's mobile friendly. So we use the word versatile a lot in describing our products, because it's maybe not mobile in the essence that, Clint's going to throw in the back of his, shoulder and put it in the back of his truck and run down
would
the football
it fit in the
field.
back of my truck?
But it would fit, and you could do it. We kind of market it like a couch. Like, you could pick it up and move it. It's about 135-ish pounds, give or take, once it gets to you.
And it fits through a doorway.
Call a buddy, buy him some Whole Foods.
There you
can
go.
move it inside.
There you go. And it is really, really, really big differentiator for us as well, which we really focused on, is that it has to fit through every single doorway. Standard doorways in America are 36 inches. This is a 33-inch product, which is massive, because this is going to be able to go on back porches, docks, patios, small rooms in your house, that kind of thing, that make it really versatile and make it very something that you're proud to actually show off.
It's aesthetically looks good on the
touch
balcony.
on that point.
Yeah, so like we've taken a lot of time as well to prioritize compared to, the first product that I purchased that was portable, that was good for a beginner. But after looking at it, seeing how much wear and tear was on the product just after moving it a few times, and also just, we actually got a notice from our warehouse literally that they were going to kick us out of our warehouse because we had trash sitting out front of our warehouse for too long. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, we don't have trash bags. And they were like, the product, whatever it is outside, looks like trash. So if you don't pull that inside, we're going to literally evict you. They're really strict. So long story short, we focused on that, and it's aesthetically going to look good. And, a lot of property managers and HOAs are the worst. No one's going to complain about this. And we've even asked property managers or people, that live in a nice neighborhood, like, do you think you would get complaints about this? And they're like, no, this looks beautiful.
It looks like a tenant improvement versus something that's kind of just like an eyesore, right?
Because there's other products out there that are very large, you know what I'm saying? And they're very, they're good products, not to bash them, but at the same time, that's not good for everybody, because what if they have a tiny balcony with a 1-bedroom studio, or what if they don't have anywhere in their backyard they could put it, or in general they rent a room somewhere, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're losing that entire market. So therefore, we wanted this product to offer what the large and small products have and be right in the middle, but obviously be better. So to also talk about our machine, as we all know, like we've talked about hot tubs. Hot tubs are extremely expensive, but people buy them. But at the same time, imagine if you could buy something that's a little bit cheaper than a hot tub, and you not only can use it as a hot tub, but also as a cold plunge. Yeah. So our product not only chills down to 37 degrees, but it also heats up to 104. So therefore, it makes more sense as the investment as well to people. Hey, maybe you aren't feeling a cold plunge, which most people, once they start it, are going to do it every damn day. But regardless, maybe it's wintertime in Colorado and it's freaking freezing outside, and you're like, all right, I'm practically in the cold already all day. I want to get in a hot tub.
Or hit the cold plunge before the gym and make it hot for when you get back.
Exactly. So you can even possibly, you can schedule it too, where, when you go to bed, it starts chilling down to your desired temperature. Maybe
is that
44.
on an app or on the machine?
Yeah, we have an app.
It's going to be on an app. So you can chill it down to your desired temperature. Maybe it's 44, then starting at 1 o'clock, start heating up to 102 so I can take my nightly hot tub.
How many liters, gallons, cubic feet, whatever? How are you measuring the size?
Yeah, so the entire, how many gallons it holds is right about 125. Okay. But at the fill lines where it's actually going to sit is about 88 gallons, which is really nice because 88 gallons is large, but not too much.
I was saying it's not like a hot tub where it might take 6 hours to heat up or cool down.
Exactly. It depends on the climate, of course. So if you're sitting in the blaring sun, it's obviously going to heat up quicker, take longer to cool down, and vice versa. But I mean, average is probably about 6 or so an hour, 6 degrees an hour or so. Comes out of the tap at 55, 60, depending on your climate. So a couple hours to go cold. If you're going hot, maybe a couple more hours. But you're going to find that balance whenever you're trying to use it.
How do you plug it in? It's just like an outlet.
Yeah, so the machine is powered by power, right? 110 volt, typical American Standard outlet, and then the actual hose is just plug and play into the bottom of the plunge. But it's all nice and built in and aesthetically pleasing, so nothing's always sticking out. It's not eyesore. You don't have
There are multiple hoses.
There's 2 hoses. One pushes water in, and one pulls water out.
Filtration.
So, filtration. There you go.
So we got about 7 minutes left.
We got to wrap up.
All right. Well, I want to ask one more thing about you guys are building a community, right? Like that's
Absolutely.
how are you going about doing that? Because that's the hardest thing to do between being a e-com drop shipping brand and a lifestyle brand.
If I can touch on that, and then I'll let you touch on that for time. Look, you guys know just as much as we do, putting on events is tough, right? If you want to host your own event, I mean, it's a grind,
It's
right?
work.
It's work. It's work. And we're not scared of hard work, but we're also wanting to work smart here. And so there are going to be maybe 2 events we're going to do this year where we are the host. We are putting it together. We're going to have, our own, music and DJ and food and the whole 9, right? We're going to invite friends and family. We're going to invite potential customers, that whole 9. However, where we come into play is we're going to have a very, very, very heavily packed event schedule for us, not hosted by the Coldlife, but sponsored too. And a big value add for us is, hey, we'll come in, we got our 10x10s, we got our setups, we got everything we want to do. We'll bring in some cold plunges, we'll bring in some ice, we'll bring in the chiller, however you guys want to get it set up, depending on it. And we'll come and sponsor a lot of different local events. We've got a trailer being built out right now to be able to travel basically wherever we need to go. So we can go to, anywhere really. And so all different kinds of wellness events, fitness events, mindset events. I mean, we were talking about, co-sponsoring a Hustle Up event. Anything really where we can find some commonality where it makes sense to just get that product exposed. We'll bring some towels. People are crazy enough to sign a waiver and hop in. We'll do that, or they just want to come in and stick their hand in. We just want to get the product out there and be there and be present in the spaces where people that have the mentality to possibly buy our product or just appreciate the ingenuity and the engineering of what this thing is, just to get it out there, right? 'Cause maybe you don't want to buy it. Maybe your brother does, your sister does, or your dad does, or, everyone's talking about these things right now. So every single person we turn into, it's like, oh, my dad's just about to buy one. Like, can I come by and see yours? I mean, we got somebody, probably at least 2-3 people a day coming through to the warehouse right now, just because they're in that buying.
I see them on
You could
Instagram.
have some fun with like a cold plunge dunk tank. Like every time if somebody buys one at an event, somebody's getting dunked.
Oh, I like
Yeah. We're going to also do like a cold plunge podcast, short form.
Like
a
Kevin
length of-
Hart, the one-
Exactly.
yeah.
So, and hopefully he'll get one of ours one day. But one thing I will say, obviously I've known you for a little bit. We've met a few times, and obviously I know Kyle pretty well. I'm just like Kyle. I will talk to anybody, anything. I could pitch a wall, anything.
Yeah.
That's just also another strength that we bring to the table is that we're constantly networking, and like we're not even ready to launch quite yet, and like we literally already have countless amount of opportunities by just communicating with other people, saying like, if your product was ready now, we could invite you to this or X, Y, and Z. And the other cool thing about our product that's different than other products in the market is that it can be more customizable from the color to a logo and et cetera. So we have a lot more advantages to that as well for sponsorships, for events, for influential people where, hey, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, you want a pink one, we can do a pink one. Hey, your business is called whatever, you want a logo on it, we can get a logo on it. So we're also leveraging that customization aspect of our product, where we can also go to a CrossFit event or go to a college game day tailgate where it could be that burnt orange Tennessee color or whatever. So we're trying to also just out loud, we're constantly thinking about unique ways that we can market our product and brand that's different than anybody else.
Love that. Love that. Well, where can people follow you?
You can follow me at Kyle Ponton on Instagram, but most importantly, the Coldlife is
At
everywhere.
the Coldlife.
The Coldlife.
Everywhere.
Yep.
We're on
And-
Instagram, Facebook, email, etc.
And then my Instagram's at the Sam Maxwell, at the Sam Maxwell. There's a lot of fake accounts out there right now.
We'll drop
Get
it in
that
the
check mark,
description.
dog. Time for that blue check.
That's right, man. Guys, this has been awesome. Obviously we've both known y'all as individuals and see how powerful the combination of both y'all together is.
100%.
Love the company, love the concept, the vision, the purpose, all of that. I think you guys have thought through every angle, which is amazing. I'm re-inspired to maybe take a more habitual turn towards cold plunging instead of just medicinally. This has been inspiring. Do you have anything you want to say before we close?
No, I love it. I love the physical, the mental aspects of the cold life in general, and the community that you guys have already started to build, are building. It's building off the backs of everything you've done before. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Absolutely.
One last
Good.
thing. We're over here at the Hustle Out podcast.
Yeah.
We need to get Jonathan Hessen and Clint Crow over to the Coldlife.
Oh, we're gonna do it.
Let's do it. Say
Get you
less.
guys into the plunge.
I wanna hop in one of those
You guys some
plunges.
quick, short questions.
I got you.
Everyone I know in my Atlanta network is coming through y'all's facility and jumping
Yeah.
in your cold plunge. So, we're next.
Yeah.
But Kyle, Sam, thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
guys.
I'm Jonathan.
I'm Clint.
Until next time, welcome to season 4 at Hustle Up. Hustle up.
Hustle up.